say I'm wasting my time, but I just can't get enough. I keep the floor, it can be tough. People say there's no reason why I get high. I'm wasting my time, but I just can't get enough. I keep the floor, it can be tough. People say there's no reason why I get high. People say I'm wasting my time, but I just can't get enough. I keep the floor, it can be tough. People say there's no reason why I get high. Your feet back on the ground. Just realize that every night I'm getting high and dancing. Could you get your feet back on the ground? Just realize that every night I'm getting high and dancing. Could you get your feet back on the ground? Just realize that every night I'm getting high and dancing. Could you get your feet back on the ground? Just realize that every night I'm getting high and dancing.
Yo, happy Monday. How's it going, everyone? Hope you all had good days. Gonna make some stuff today. Do a little feedback. Hear what you guys got up to over the weekend. As per usual, if you would like some feedback today on a track or sounds you are working on, drop a link in the chat and sit back for a while. We will get to it. If you're looking to submit new sounds to the community sample drive for everyone to use, send them on through to holler@ohmlab.tv, or if you've got sounds you want me to work with today, do the same. Saf, how you doing, man? Ben, happy Monday. Punch, punch, punch. How are you? Eric, hey, thank you for the sub. 6 months. That's awesome. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate it. Yeah, they're never going to get rid of that. It's an ad. It's just an ad, right? How you doing today, man? And to the lurkers as well. Happy Monday. Oh no, is there a war brewing? Saf and Ben. Ben's already first in line for some feedback today, it looks like. We'll get to that. Close out of a bunch of stuff here. Oh yeah. Get the rest of the idea out for the beat roulette today. Maybe get the first one set up for this week. Sounds good to me. I have too many text edit windows open. Anybody else out there constantly rocking text edit? Feel a little bit more organized. It's a little gray and wet, kind of dark here today. What you guys got going on? I think I might build a quick fire for us. I'd love to leave the fire crackle going. But I'm sure that all of the YouTube channels have ads. There we go. Keep us nice and cozy today. Alright, so now that we've got a nice warm fire, we won't freeze. We won't be too wet. I think you guys are in some kind of mood today. The chicken fries. Chicken fries. Fries made out of chicken? Fries made just for chickens? I mean, chickens need fries, right? How are they supposed to eat with their burgers? We've gone too far. All right. Definitely gonna have to make some stuff. Oh man. You know, the desire for a fire is making me rethink the whole layout here. because I don't want to give up my my Fire, but I want to work in Logic and give you guys the full screen experience. Man, what a freaking conundrum. Tell you what. Nano is a vibe. He's not really a person. There you go. Goals. Attainable goals, Saf. Man, trash bag over the snow. Record it. See what happens. What is Ben working on this morning? Let's see. Let's peek. So I got some for you here. Let's hear the outro. All right, so this is sounding better. This is sounding better. Much more to the gooder now. So I think prior to 2 minutes, it still needs a couple of embellishments, sweeps, small risers, sparkles, little, sparkly little zingers, things that move around in space and shine. Ear candy, The drops feel better. They're much smoother. This third one feels like it needs just a little bit more build before it drops off, because it just carries forward after that. And between like 2 and 4, I think is some good space for just like some interesting playtime with the delays. I feel it's very simple and predictable, and it could be more. It could be more. It could be more interesting in those small spaces there. 4 minutes onward, perhaps a small 4-bar volume rise in the snares, right? Bar 1, bar 2 up a little, bar 3 up a little more, bar 4 at the highest, and then back down, something like that. Just to get a little bit more dynamic kind of push-pull thing going on here. And I think that just in general, 5 minutes onward, for the next couple and a half minutes, you can have some really cool saturation swells and just kind of play with volume and frequency sweeps, just to kind of disclose the different instruments in the mix and like what they've been up to, because everyone's been kind of zoning on these things for a bit. And the main ARP and synth in general, I think that they could use more than just like a cutoff mod that you're going through. I think it could use something else, maybe some detuning, maybe the tease of like a 7th layer on one of them or something like that, right? Otherwise, you might even want to consider having another player in the mix, another synth in the mix. And that would be just to add little bits of interest here and there, and not let people get too fixated on the same 2 things for 7.5 minutes, right? Yeah, I think that's what this one needs. And it's dude, this is, if you were to go back and listen to the first version and then listen to this one, like just an A/B, it's a big difference. There's a big difference. Nano. Every touchscreen needs you. Just add water. And yeah, I agree with Paul. This is it's a nice little beat here, and it's developed quite nicely. So today, I was thinking that it would be nice to add some more rhythmic elements to the mix. I've built up a pretty solid footing of the atmospheric stuff, the drone stuff. I think what I want now are some rhythmic elements that people can layer with these things. I'm in your project. Creeping in your projects. All right. There were a couple people asking last week in the chat about Evolve. The Evolve series that runs inside a Kontakt, comes with Complete. It's put out by Heaviosity. They're amazing. And some of the people said they were unfamiliar with, and a couple people said they were pretty surprised by that. I just wanted to maybe just dig into a couple of these and help put into context what we've been working on lately. Because for people that don't follow this type of sound design stuff or music production, they tune into this stuff and they're like, "What? What is the difference between a stinger and a riser and a build?" And yeah. So the Evolve series is it's just a whole bunch of different cinematic type, cinematic quality, um, little embellishments, whether they be rhythmic or tonal or atonal or atmospheric or completely texture based or um, um, percussive. Like it could be anything that is heard in a cinematic score. What it is not focused on are the main melodic components, right? You're not going to hear these complex piano progressions or anything like that. You might hear some sort of broken piano or warped piano or something like that that could be used to create some additional tension or release tension or whatever. And that's the kind of stuff that we've been working on lately. And where there were some people asking if it would be possible to even recreate some of these. So maybe we'll actually end up doing some of that today too. So yeah, let's just listen to a couple of these so we can kind of help continue to lift the veil for some folks here. Saffron, I will check it out. The breathers. It's been so long since I played with any of these. Gotta have patience for these. Uncaged piano. And you guys have heard these in countless movies. So yeah, it goes from very abstract stuff like that to let's go into maybe some rhythmic sweeps, sweets. Little rhythmic toppers and stuff. Epic toms. Some of them are quite simple, some of them are quite complex. They all have, you know, accompanying effects and filters and stuff that you can play with. And what y'all have been watching me build so far is all the stuff minus the minus the rhythmic type stuff, which I will start building. Because it's pretty tough to build high quality scenes without some rhythmic elements. So today we're gonna bust out some of those and start fleshing out the rest of this thing this week. Then you guys can even watch me package some of this stuff up. Nothing too mundane. Let's do let's do some serum today. Let's do some serum. Ben, I'm just reading your comments here. OhmLab is in my project, guys. I'm scared. It's 3 layers with different mods than an instrument rack with the same 3 layers, all modded different as well. That's fucking nuts, Jedi Master Yoda. Well, I think you sat through classes that were all about modulators modulating modulators. Oh man. Paul, in answer to your question, the ensemble that we were just looking at was the Evolve libraries, or one of them, from Heaviosity inside a Kontakt. If you have any of the complete versions, I believe you have that. Except for the starter, the free starter one. And it's been in there, I want to say Evolve first hit like 12 years ago, and then Mutations hit like 10 years ago or somewhere in that. Maybe just prior to that. Maybe it's more like 14 years and 12 years now, something like that. But they've been around forever. They're total mainstays. They're like cornerstones. And Heaviosity has continued to crank out most excellent stuff since then. Give me a paid sub. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. It's a great name, by the way. Let me check the inbox, Saf. Get you guys the fire while I'm looking. Oh, there it is. Night active. Oh, kite active. All right, let's see what the sound is from Saf. Wow, what was that? What is that? What is that sound? Give me a paid sub if you hang out for a while. All right. So something something rhythmic, something deep first, and then we'll just kind of take it from there and talk about the simplicity of sine waves and how like layered cinematic moments really actually happen versus how we think they happen. So what we'll start off with first is just like a simple basic sine wave, and maybe we'll just put a little saw in through an FM, small amount. Maybe something up to that level. Very, very subtle first. And let's just do a double. Double little mod here. It doesn't need to be an exact thing. It can be a fairly arbitrary shape if you like. All right. All right, so it's got just enough harmonics for it to actually start sounding like something. And we don't want it to be much beyond that. I might add just maybe a little bit of tape. Just some initial saturation for the other stuff to grab onto later. All right, so still very, very simple. If we were to look at this, right smack dab in the middle still. So now we can start processing this with things like phase distortion and stuff and get rather nice results easily. Right? And once you start, you know, delaying and reverberating those things, they start to sound really, really great in a big mix. So, let's do this the easy way and just do quick ARPs out. Might be the easiest way to knock these out quickly. And then that way we don't have to reprogram anything in the synth. Okay, so then we can also then just do some long sweeps on these and open them up over time. Paul says Evolve is not in my collection. Da. Oh man, you know, Nano, how's your head after that car crash, man? What's up, Nate? How you doing, man? That is a great question. Gift. I can answer that. And before I click on your link, is there an example of that bass getting distorted in that link? Nano, Ben is still freaking out a little bit. Ben, I feel like you've sat there and watched me do much more complex and impressive things, right? It just really got to you this time, huh? Well, oh, that Trojan that I dropped on your laptop a while back probably helps. Oh. All right, so somewhere in here, and then we can do nice little filter plays and stuff. So we'll do that. Oh man. Wacky and bouncy rubber band style music. Dude, Nate, share some, dude. I mean, when you're ready to, of course. Guys, ready for one? Let's bring back our fire. Some notes. All right, Paid. Here we go. It's a quick one. Okay, so it's a quick shot. Let's give this one more. Okay. Um, so first thing, I think that this thing really just needs some mids. It's easy to listen to it and say, okay, this thing needs more separation, but the highs and lows are very, very separated. It's more about it doesn't have a mid body. So I think that's the very first thing to address. The second thing is that on your sub, you need more harmonics so you can actually hear them on more playback devices. If someone is rocking some really nice subs, then they're going to feel this. The problem is that they're going to feel it more than they're going to end up hearing it, right? All of your subs are a bit heavy, and I'm assuming, in an effort to hear them better, right? Tonally. So what you do is you rough them up just a little bit with some saturation. Not one that's going to grit them up with too much distortion, just create some harmonics. And one of the easiest ways to do that, and if you stick around here, you'll see that we talk about this constantly, use something very, very transparent like an overdrive and then force harmonics to appear in the upper frequencies by targeting a really high frequency up here. That may start generating audible harmonics much, much lower in the frequency spectrum, but you're magically just going to start hearing your 808s where you have not heard them before without having to crank them. And the reason why you don't want to crank them is because when there's too much sub in the mix, it distorts everything and washes everything out and makes it all muddy. So then it feels like there's not power in it, which makes you want to turn it up. But you can't turn it up much more because there is no dynamic range there. So you got to go back and add some harmonics to your 808s, and it will solve a lot of that volume complexity that you're running into here. And 808s really, they really appreciate that love, especially when you're playing across the octaves. Like when you're going up and playing at a couple different pitches, you know, it's got to, those harmonics need to move with the sound. It's not something that's best employed to or on audio, right? It's better if you're playing this thing while it's still a synth, and you add your saturation there, so then everything is dynamically changing. And then I would also suggest playing with the decay and reverb decay times that you're working with right now. I do feel like the initial pre-delay on the reverb that you're using is a bit long. It pushes back the sound a bit much, but in general, I think that the decay time, like the amount of time that it takes for your delay echoes and your reverb tails to come back down to zero, I think that that could be quicker. And the reason I say that is so that you can hear the fresh pulses of audio going through those delays and reverbs, right? So because if you keep them where they are right now, it all sounds pretty rock steady. So there's never really a dip or a change in the volume level. I mean, there is, but it's almost not noticeable because it's happening right before the next one hits. And I think that if it came down at a quicker decay rate, you would like this a lot more because your reverbs and your delays would be getting out of the way of your kicks and stuff. So I think that that would help increase clarity. And I know that your initial question when you walked in was about not finding too much distortion, right? Let me find this. Okay, so you make very powerful bass, but it gets distorted. How to make it very powerful and not distorted at the same time. Yeah, I think what you're running into is just a byproduct of not being able to hear it easily. So we're confusing power and volume is really what it is, because you can get a lot of power from something without it being so overdriven volume-wise. And that's, I think, where you need to start looking. Catching up with the chat here. Nano. Oh. Oh, it's good to see you guys talking about getting started in the game world. Oh, hey, and look at that. Damien is here. Welcome, Damien, and party of 28. How the hell are you guys? We're just chilling, listening to a couple of tracks. Nate, did you already drop a link? I don't think so. Well, when you do, we will click on it. And in between listening to stuff and giving some feedback today, we're building some more awesome cinematic stuff for the upcoming library release. And there were questions about the Evolve library and Heaviosity, and how this kind of stuff is made. So we are digging into that. And of course, we got to start with simple, right? Keep it simple first. So we're starting with some basic sine waves and talking about how to then get a ton more out of them through things like phase distortion and stuff like that. So if you spend about 10, 15 seconds inside of a synth like Serum, you can get a basic sound. And you can start bouncing this, and then you start doing filter sweeps and like I said before, different distortion types to, start spinning out your variations. And then you start layering them with all of the things like the drones and the hybrid soundscapes that we've been building to build complete cinematic moments, right? So if we were to put the mod wheel over here, and then put that on our distortion as well. More. Uh-huh. Little bit of click to help it get through the mix. And if you're playing with an ARP, and get this out of a set rate, modulate them on the fly, yeah, we'll be able to spin out a whole bunch of these really quick. And I'm sure that Nate is on the hustle today, so let's run over and check out his thing really quick. Use the Notes app. I know. Thank you, Nate. I will click on that in just a second. Cardio, the way you get your Serum skin is you click on Serum in the upper left-hand corner of the UI, hover over skin, drop down from default to Promethean, and then once you have it set, click back in there, and then click Set Current Skin as Default, and then it'll open up that way every time. You can find other skins elsewhere, but those are the two official ones. Hey, Purple Pros, how you doing? Hope you're doing well today. All right, so let's click on this. Nate said he's working on some more rubber bandy kind of stuff today. You sharing, or are you looking for feedback on this one, homie? Cool, cool. Dude, this is great. Everything right now. Everything you're doing is great. Maybe a touch more detuning on the whistle at a few key points, just to make it a touch more wonky. The mallet that's in it, 45 seconds or so, it's a little bit hot in comparison. I feel like that whistle could come up just a little bit too. Whistle isn't the right word, but and then 1 minute mark-ish, this tuba that's just kind of chattering for a bit. What if you swap it with the trombone and get a couple of slides in there, because you've got a really flippin' playful sound here, and I think that would really build on it, and you can get those short staccato notes out from a trombe as well as you can a tuba. So yeah, synthbirds, huh? That's better than whistle. This is great, dude. This is great. I love the little snippet of the graphic right there too. How close are you guys right now? Mod Ross, I know! Boss, how are you, dude? We've got to get it. And I need to get those shout outs up too. Thank you for the reminder, Foss. Where is my little list of things that I need to do here today? All right, let's set up my shout outs. We've got to get through the Mod Ross conversation as well. All right. April, and demos on Steam already. That's awesome. If anybody's on Steam and wants to get a sneak, it's called Hop Legs. Snowing, huh? It's just kind of cold and wet and windy and rainy today. Excuse me. Nice, Mr. Bill just had Steve on. We should get him on here. Zev! How you doing, man? All right, so now if we were to toss a phase distortion on this, set up a little guitar pedal here. I like to get all my ducks in a row first. Let's toss a mixer on this one. Okay. And maybe even just a delay on this too. STP1, thank you for the follow. Rocked. Thank you for the follow. All right, so we've got a few different layers that we can record here really quick. Let's bring this down. All right, and let's do how much of this should we do? Is the question. Actually, let's just do a little 4-bar. I need at least an 8-bar on each one of these, even if we're going to keep a 4-bar loop as our main target clip size for all of this. Run through C2 first. Man, why isn't Latch I feel like I've finally entered the point where I'm being forced to get my my logic updated again. I'm just not even getting some of my basic options anymore. That sucks. All right, let's just take this one step further on the control side of things and move these over. I'm thinking I'd rather hear these in a little layer. Let's toss a linear on at the end here. Let's just see, out of curiosity. All right, let's just grab a couple of randoms here and see what they sound like together. Fix whatever problems we have before we start bouncing to audio. All right, so this one's pretty bassy. This one's running at 120. It's at 60. Okay, so it's a little thick. Okay, so the whole thing's a little thick. Let's fix that before we start outputting anything. Probably around here. Left myself in latch. That's funny. Okay, and maybe just a touch around 100 and put a small bump on the other side. Just above 60. Yeah. All right, that feels a little bit better. Let's try that with one of these again. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's squish that just a tiny bit. And I've been rocking the Supercharger GT on a lot of these, so to keep that going. Cool. Start bouncing these. Sup, Subvids? How you doing? Oh man, we need a coffee command, don't we? Everybody got excited when Zev said coffee. I'm still getting caught up on what you guys have been talking about. Saf says STP1. Me and OhmLab were talking about him in one of our sessions. I missed what that was in reference to, though. Glitch type music and it's done at Ableton. Oh, Mr. Bill. Yeah. Jafar, welcome back. What does latch do in Logic? So what it does is it latches on to whatever parameter you've just touched. And for whatever reason, I haven't been getting all of the same commands available to me inside of Logic after a power outage that we had during one of the storms a couple weeks ago. For whatever reason, I have no idea why it's happening, but I think that I can reset it with an update. I just need to do it. Um, but yeah, that's what Latch does. Yeah, Saf keeps growing bit by bit. It's visual, so no listening required, says Nate. Also, did you guys a nice fire while I look this up? Nate is wondering who here votes. Oh, come on, Discord. There we go. Who here votes that he make an official OhmLab PogChamp emote out of this? That's great. That's awesome. I vote yes. I vote yes. Ooh, poll time. Saf has the question. What do you guys prefer when designing organic sounds? Analog synths or Foley? It's a loaded question, homie. Good answers. What kind of feedback do you offer? Mostly looking for whips or what? Oh, please send them in. You can send in tracks, individual sounds, whatever. You just let me know what kind of feedback you're looking for, homie. If you're looking for something very technical in nature or creative, most people just get the general. It's like a half technical, half creative. Um, no BS. Please send on through if you're looking for some critical ears. Eric is into the PogChamp emote as well. Thank you, Nate. It's been a hot minute since there's been a high quality OhmLab meme. Subvid says, OhmLab question for the day. How would you convert an audio of a snare groove on a practice pad and convert to MIDI so I can put through something like addictive drums? Easy. Okay. So here's why we do that. How we do that. And I was actually going to bring this up earlier. Someone was saying that they always start with a hum or a whistle and then try their best to work off of it when they were sharing their approach on something in Damien's stream. But I don't like to dominate other people's chats. Try not to be a dick. So this is actually pretty easy. Let's just say you've got... okay, so... Oh, wait, that's actually MIDI. All right, so to do this in your DAW, and most DAWs can handle something along these lines these days, and I'll just show you the full tonal workflow. So this will work for tonal and atonal sounds. You open up your file, your audio editor. You're going to turn on Flex in Ableton. It's Warp, right? In Logic, it's Flex. And then you're going to make sure that you are in a pitch setting. So it's analyzing this thing in pitch. The next thing to do is just to make sure that you're targeting everything in your entire region that you want to do this to. And then just pitch correct it. Okay. And that might take away from the wonkiness of the audio or like the organic nature of the audio. We don't care about that right now. What we care about is note value, and that's it. Again, that's just for the tonal. If you're dealing with a non-tonal, an atonal sound, you can worry less about this part. And then from there, this is where it gets a bit more complex. You're going to go to your create MIDI track from flex pitch data, which is typically found in your advanced audio edit options in your DAWs if it supports it. And voila, Bob's your uncle, so to speak. Here's the resulting MIDI if we were to just solo this. And again, if you are working in something that's atonal, you don't need to worry about any of that. You can just set everything on autopilot. All you have to go look for is just the one little convert audio to MIDI. And I do believe most DAWs will do that nowadays. That used to be something that people would see in Logic and be like, what? Swamp Alive. If I was working for a big corporation and they sent me a paycheck with the wrong date and the wrong amount twice, then I would think that something was wrong. Oh, man. Billions of dollars still managed by fat fingers. Right. Yeah, ghost notes as well. You can go in and you can clean stuff up pretty quickly. But, honestly, it's a nice way to extract grooves from things, right? And don't forget, you can process audio before you do this, right? So it's fairly easy to actually isolate sounds if you start to think about it in this context where you're like, okay, I'm just looking for, this one sound in this drum loop or whatever. You just kind of filter out the majority of the other stuff. Yeah, right, Paul? How come it always falls in their favor, right? Yeah. Nate, thank you for the host. Yeah, Subvid's roles would definitely be pushing it for sure. Oh man, right? I haven't watched Brazil in a hot minute. That's so good. Such a classic. Thank you, Cardio. Table for two? Oh yeah, and drum replacer plugins as well. Yes, absolutely, Javar. Yeah, and then you just move to the snare patch. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, and you can do this with like humming and whistling. For those that don't know music theory, as long as you're giving yourself enough space between the notes, if it's something that you're just more worried about the notes being correct, this is a really easy way to get started with music creation because everyone can go do 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 do, right? And we don't really think about music theory when we're doing that. We know when something sounds off, but you may not know what key it is while you're just having an idea. So you spit that out into your DAW and then you convert that to MIDI and then, run that through to a piano or a flute or whatever it is that it was when it was running through your head. But also learn your theory. Yeah, I feel like theory is one of those things that's super daunting to a lot of people because it was introduced to them in all the wrong ways when they were young. And it stifled creativity so much that a lot of people feel that they have to make some sort of a choice between creativity and understanding music theory or something. It's somehow crippling the creative flow or something. And I mean, obviously, the people that are there already with music theory hear that and they're like, I don't understand that. But people that are daunted by music theory, they're always like, yeah, that's it exactly. It comes to a time, like as long as you don't shut yourself off to it completely. Right brain versus left brain. Yeah, except when you look at the all the studies that are done about brain development and cognitive ability and that kind of stuff, um, amongst those who choose, not just those who are exposed to music at a young age or whatever, but those who continue to pursue it throughout their profession, it's constantly like evolving the brain in some pretty interesting ways, and um, it forces us to think uh, quite differently about more than just our music. Yeah, I would agree with that, cardio. I think that it's just part of the old boys club mentality of like, we have this knowledge, we're going to keep it from you until you pass a certain threshold, and we're going to treat you a certain way until you're in the upper echelons or whatever. There's this like air of condescension and I don't know, a kind of a demeaning social, I don't know, I don't know what exactly to call it, but yeah. Yeah, subfits, and I mean, I think I settled on drums for that very reason when I was younger. I was really into a whole bunch of different melodic instruments, keys, saxophone, lots of stuff, guitar, and I remember building my own bass, like quite literally cutting the pieces of wood in the wood shop, and it took quite some time. Is an amazing bass too. But ultimately, I don't think I pursued a lot of it because of the social stuff around music theory and musicianship at that particular time, which was 80s into 90s, and then I was really out on my own musically in the 90s, um, like actually playing around, and that really kind of solidified it because I could walk into any situation as a percussionist or a drummer and fit right in and not have to think about any of it and just go with the flow, and people wouldn't even need to know if I was counting or not, which was great, because I much prefer just feeling the music than sitting there and like having to count all the time, which I think is another part of music theory that turns a lot of people off at a young age because if they stumble at first and they don't feel the success, then they feel like they're never going to get it. And it's a shame. So, yeah, I try not to ever push anyone in that direction and just remind them that these things can come with time too. The keyboard and the notes can start to make sense. Yeah, exactly. The whole I went through this, so you have to go through it too. I mean, we see it in everything. We see it in everything. We're seeing it with the minimum wage thing right now. It's like, I don't know. I suffered a lot, or I feel like I suffered a lot. So therefore, you have to suffer that same amount or more, while I enjoy my creature comforts. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And instant gratification does excite the music bug because when you do have something that can just flow and you've got control over it and it just, oh, right there in the moment, you can just keep going. Um, yeah, yeah, absolutely. So good. I like you too, cardio. You lost my mic audio. Oh, okay. Yeah, Paul, I think about how people learned music and thought about music for a really long time, and I played with a lot of people that didn't have the same kind of access as a lot of other people have to education in general, let alone music education. And I've felt pretty strongly my whole life that some of the stuff that I was making with these cats was better than the stuff that I was making with people that had spent, 4 to 12 years educating themselves after 12 years of public school. Yeah. Mounting the music stallion for a ride across the shores of silence. Musical education inequity is a problem. I think that education inequity in general is it's shameful. It's shameful. Yeah, it's part of why I've dedicated so much of my life to helping other people get started on things. Getting started is the hardest part. Cardio, did you ever drop something in the chat or no? I don't think I see one in here. Okay, so I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna work on this for a bit here. Oh, right. I opted for the art because it's easier. So what I will do then is I will add 1 bar. That's what we will do. I'll move this. We'll move everything along with it. Extend this back out. I'm going to add 1 bar. And then we will actually record or take our recording from 2 onward. Okay, so this seems like it will probably sync up. Let's just check it. Which means we now just run from here to here. Feels pretty seamless. Paul's saying, agree, rich kids just don't have access to the street beats. That's why we kidnap them and drop them off in the cities, right? Swamp's asking, OhmLab, how do you feel about that educational foundation from Bill Gates that's aiming to standardize educational content? Their goal is to supposedly end that disparity, but it's dangerous. Okay, so here's the thing is I don't think that we need to standardize content. We need to standardize access is what we need. We need to diversify the type of content that's available and allow people to make some choices based upon their natural inclinations and interests. Because I think we've gone way too far overboard in the arbitrary assignment of value of certain things. You know, we used to say that like work ethic matters so much that you need to prove your worth in our system by taking on another language, even if you're wanting to be an accountant, right? Or a painter or something. It's like, yeah, there are certain things that like socially add up, and then there are things that add up professionally. I think that we just got things way out of whack way early on, and I don't think that we should have the expectation of everyone having this holistic, professorial, academic mind when they leave the end of any education. I think that the point of education is enriching oneself and allowing oneself to grow in a discipline or craft. And then when you have the opportunity to apply that knowledge in real life, you start to gain true skill and you can hone your craft. And if you spend time with mentors or people that came before you in the industry, you then have more direct access to meaningful insights and perspective and wisdom, you know, the whys and not the hows, right? And I think that we've gotten so far off the track. This is just me spouting, but I think we've just got so far off track that we've forgotten what learning is like, the true value of learning. It's become this obligatory process for so many people that have no perspective on what they're actually gaining because they haven't yet entered the real world. And when they leave that system, so many people feel duped or unsatisfied or are unable to find any kind of tread or traction or momentum, or happiness, that they do not fill the role that education was supposedly supposed to prepare them for, you know, and set them up for in life. And that's just not the real world. Most people change careers many, many times. Um, and I think that it's, unfortunately, it's all just another part of the whole. It's complex. It's overly complex because of the money that's involved and the necessity to sustain all the lives in that monetary system. It's difficult. It's difficult. You have to keep a college open 24/7, basically, you know, year round, and to keep this thing going so people can flow into it every single year. I totally get that. But do they need to make millions and billions on top of what they need to survive? Maybe they do, right, for future growth. But do people need to be getting big bonuses? Like, could there be more access made available to those things? I think I think we're screwed. I think we're screwed, and that we need a new approach to a lot of it. I really do, because and I think that this pandemic is putting the writing on the wall. But those jobs aren't coming back. Like, those jobs are not coming back. I don't. We're gonna have to rethink like what people do with their times, with their time, and how we see value, like in work, and it's, man. Standardized sounds bad. Set standards sounds good. I agree with Paul on that. Purple Prose had a good music teacher in grade school. That's priceless. Javar says traditional music theory is a lot like taking an English class. It teaches you the language, how the language is put together, but you don't need it in order to talk. You just know what makes a sentence work. Yeah, yeah, dude. Swamp's high school teacher was a guitar player in Iron Butterfly. There you go. Cardio. I will click on that link in just a sec. Private piano and trumpet cello chorus in school. Nice, Paul. Oh. Your dad was a good player, so you never bothered. That's awesome. That reminds me of when Mel Brown offered to give me drum lessons anytime I wanted when I was younger, and I'm like, nah, I got this. Freaking idiot. Oh man, he's like a freaking hero. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Theory makes emotion quantifiable. Hmm. Hmm. Later found out she works closely with my choir teacher, my friend's mother who sang opera. Oh wow, Purple Pros. Yeah, it's nice when you find out that your teachers are actually plugged into like a social scene. And then you found out that your friend and your mother are cousins. Small world. Oh man. West Virginia. Yeah, that sums it up right there, Javar. So I noticed you used an augmented, inverted, diminished minor seventh here. What was your reasoning? Yeah, it sounded good. Yeah, divide and conquer indeed, Swamp. Saf is asking if I played in any experimental rock bands. Yes. Yeah, they were one of my main modes of operation for a good decade or so, and it was great. It was great. It was very, think like King Crimson meets Primus meets I don't even know. I don't even know. Bill Gates and the World Economic Forum are also touting the Great Reset. Well, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen because if it doesn't soon, um, and people have been talking about this for a very long time, and we're very slow to pick up on things and actually run with these ideas. But like in in times of great change in the industry, there are a lot of people left behind, and this time the change is so massive that I mean, we're talking billions of people, um, ultimately. Unless we get all tribal again and just like say, screw technology. My former drum teacher has never had any other job than drummer. It's a good drummer. Yeah, Mel Brown, the jazz drummer. You know him, Subvids. Yeah. Chris, I know her. Heidi. Wait, who are you talking about? Your music teacher? I know your music teacher. First piano teacher was little old lady, Hungarian Holocaust survivor. Ooh, I bet that was a good teacher. Bill Bruford, dude. Bill Bruford, I'll tell you what. Say what you want about Dave Matthews Band in general. Um, Carter Beauford and Bill Bruford. Like if you were looking at these guys, I think, man, can you get much more ambidextrous? Like, ah, man, I don't know. Yeah, the rolls all around the kit, and yeah, just so good, just so good. Keith LeBlanc. I have not. Keith LeBlanc. Let's look him up. Let's do a little cyber stalking, huh? Little axe, tack head. He's out on Tommy Boy. Ooh. Huh. He's had quite the career. Sugar Hill Gang. He does look a little like Skinny Pete from Breaking Bad. The style Scott. Oh yeah, Darren and her mom sang opera. Right, right. Yeah, it's all about who you know, huh? Yep, in so many ways. All right, so we've got a little thing here. Okay, and that is with, oh wait, hold on a second. That is with ouch. Let's mute this. Yeah, that's without that process. So let's focus right now on spinning out a couple of variations. This is going to be muted. That was eighth notes. Okay, so in serum on this one, I'm gonna add a small delay. Zev, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you for the love. If anybody is not currently following Zev, click on his name in the chat really quick, and go check out his channel. Dude, I saw an email from you in my inbox this morning, and I haven't had the chance to click on it, but I'm assuming something good happened. Is it something I should click on right now, maybe? And I still haven't even listened to our new thing on stream yet. Maybe we should do that really quick, too. Had a bit of a busy morning and haven't had a chance to click through to all of the emails that came through. Oh, dude, Guy J played Blacklight. Nice, dude. Nice. And in answer to your question, it's 121. The BPM on the new track is 121. Oh, man. Is that the link that you sent to me? Is it like queued up in there? Can I just click on that? Yeah. Nice. Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. Anyway, you guys go click on Zev's name in the chat and follow his channel. He's always kicking out some good tunes when he's on. We've been meeting on Mondays for how long? The last couple of months or something. And we've cranked out I guess this is our 4th track now. I'll toss it up here in a minute. Dude, is it your birthday this Friday? All right, let's do a secondary layer, the filter. Yeah, we'll just say this is like here. We'll trigger that, and let's see what this sounds like. Okay. Thursday. Happy birthday, brother. I'll have to crack a cold beer for the session today. All right, cardio. Where be that link? There it is.
The less friction
it's trouble. I didn't know. Smashing my head against the wall. Still I go on, I'm moving on, not knowing more. The less friction, desired action, unholy affections, for the sake of connection, for the sake of connection.
Man, this is ace. This is so good. This is so well produced, so well balanced. I'm not even going to attempt any kind of feedback on the arrangement or anything because it's freaking perfect. I wouldn't touch a thing. Just like that very first note, it's just butter. Man, and this art too. It's just, this whole thing is great. A couple creative things that popped up in my head while I was listening. That reverb on the vocals and the vocalist too, just phenomenal, but just perfect reverb. It's like the perfect size, it's the perfect clarity, nailed the pre-delay, everything. Personally, I'd add maybe just a touch more in the mid-highs. It's so, I don't know, her breath is great. Her breath is just great. Between 1:30 and 2 minutes, I was hearing a nice little kind of open close work, maybe in a little double time in there and there. Man, nothing for you on this one, seriously. A couple other creative mixing things that I was hearing in my mind, around 2:15 or so, subtle gating on the reverb of the backing vocal only. Between 2:30 and 3, maybe a subtle little saturation sweep on that swirling arp, so something that is actually running over the top of that whole thing. It's brilliant, by the way, that arp. Lovely palette of sounds there. That's freaking great. Thank you for sharing that. It's freaking awesome. Cannabis Bacon, congratulations on a fantastic name, and thank you for the follow. Thank you for being with us today. You were expecting us to tear it apart. No, this is great. Yeah, no, we're not too kind. We usually eat the dead, as Paul said. We usually just tell them how it is. Single acapella found on Splice. Gotcha. Yeah. Basically what I'm saying is if there was just a touch more movement in there, it would draw attention to each one of these individual elements just a little bit differently than is being done right now. Right now, it's so perfectly balanced, which is a fantastic thing. Like, that's the ultimate goal of the mix. Now, personally, as an artist, I would love for a few things to just grab my attention from, like the top 3 or 4 heroes in the mix, for each of them to have just like a small little moment where it's like, oh yeah, I see you. I see what you're doing right now. And that's freaking great. Those little moments. Yeah, so just a bit of movement. No. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm not all about just giving glowing yes man stuff. It's usually, I don't know. I've had people walk out, be like, "You don't understand trap," or whatever. And it's like, actually, I kind of do, but You'll come back when you're ready to hear. Would help add just a touch more dimension. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bacon. Send it on through. And cardio, I'd encourage you to bring back more too. And I think that you would probably really enjoy the beat roulette that we're gonna be tossing up. It sounds like you have a really good ear in building palettes. Weird D&B. Okay. Well then let's check it. I like weird. It's a great image right there. Yeah, I'm not too kind, cardio. I just call it as I see it or hear it. All right, so here's the Amiga 2020.
Music.
Okay. Oh, and also, all right. So, brilliant sample to kick this thing off with. It's great. And that's a great swing coming in right at 25 there. That's great. Your bass pitch bend at the attack is a bit off. Obviously intentional. I'm thinking cash in on that and send it in different directions. Right? Like you've got a really cool detune thing happening, and at a couple of points it really shines, and then the rest it's fairly rock steady. I'd make it shine just a couple more times personally. You know, detuning is very popular right now, but this song like has kind of a timeless feel, right? And that type of detuning I think would be perfect in it. And then to pair with that around 110 or so, maybe pitch up or mangle that vocal sample just a bit, sample and hold something, maybe just once, maybe not even pursue it after that. Maybe it's just a little. And I'm kind of interested in what your verb EQ range is. Like where are you EQing frequencies in your reverb tails right now? Because it does sound like in a couple of spots you're just letting the reverb go through, and I'd love to know that you're EQing your reverb. Don't be a savage. EQ your reverb. And that end texture, dude, this thing, is that in at the very beginning? It is. And the end? Is that thing going the whole time? Is that texture just kind of riding in the background? Come on, SoundCloud. The whole time. Okay. Cardio, I would say that that is one thing that I both liked and considered writing down in the notes. It felt good in this track, that first one that you sent through, but I could feel how there were a couple spots that were a little thick on the reverb EQ. Yeah, so on that, okay, so just really quick on the EQ reverb, you know, if you're doing just a cut on everything and you're more just worried about the sub range, you know, around 30 hertz or so, remember that the subs are going all the way up to here and even beyond, and it's not just about the sub frequencies, it's about eliminating frequencies that are not necessary. And by necessary, I mean, what can you get away with is really, that's really what we should be saying when we say necessary when it comes to low end reduction. Think about this way, and we've talked about this before. Low frequencies are drunken imbeciles at the party, and you're just another person trying to have a good time. And the rest of your instruments in your mix are just other people trying to have a good time. And along comes this drunken, belligerent fool, and he's just bumping into stuff left and right. That is unnecessary low-end presence in reverb and delay. Not just reverb, but all time-based effects. Okay, so anytime you can cut something out of the low end in your reverb and delay in a full mix, then you should. Sounds in isolation, you don't have to worry about it. You'd love to be able to hear the entire sonic resonance of something in space. That's fine. But when you've got a whole bunch of things working together in tandem in real time together, they need to be more polite with one another, right? There's no time to say, excuse me, please. They're just going to run into each other. So you got to eliminate it for them. And you got to be kind of brutal. Like in some things, here to put this in context, I know I've mentioned this plenty of times. You go to one of the finer studios like Abbey Road or something, and you're going to see something like this set up on their reverb channels. And I say reverb channels because their stuff is all going to be running through sends, and it's like rare and special the number of things that reverb actually gets applied to directly. And then the only thing that's allowed through in those tails is this tiny little window of opportunity. And even then, they could be shaping with a shelf or something drastically on the low end to get a really soft knee, right? So don't be afraid to cut away more. If what you're hearing as a result is a reclamation of power and clarity, then you're still doing the right thing, right? And you're still putting that sound into space. And there's going to be plenty of other things in the mix to fill it all up. So, so that's what you're looking for. The other thing that I would mention that I see all the time as a common mistake is you've got a low, mid, heavy instrument, like let's say a piano or something in a lower register. You've got a bass and you've got a sub, so it's kind of heavy down there, and so you're thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to cut a whole bunch of this stuff away. And that, you know, from based upon what I was just saying, that seems correct, but you should always approach every single sound on its own merits, on its own position in the mix, and take advantage of things like shelves, right? If you can take off, say, 5 to 10 dB around 100 hertz, but leave a little bit below that on an instrument that actually has some legs down there, then do that, right? It's about reducing those collisions more than it is about eliminating them sometimes, because you need to allow like the full integrity of a sound to still come through. You can't chop the roots off a plant and expect the thing to live. So If I cut the low in the synth, I still need to cut it on the reverb channel. Right, makes sense. Well, it depends. It depends. It depends on your reverb. So here's the other thing is, and this is most easily done on a send. Most DAWs, I think, nowadays are a bit more civil, and they will, when you create or when you add a reverb effect on a parallel channel, it'll open up in a wet output, meaning there's no dry signal there. And that's how it should be. You should not listen to your reverb with a dry signal in it when you're selecting your reverb. What you need to do is know what your reverb sounds like, and they all sound differently. So you will actually get more low-end frequencies added to your output. I've seen it many, many times where you put a somewhat stripped sound through a reverb, and then you look at that signal after the reverb, and you're outputting low frequencies again. So it's more important how you're EQing it coming out of the reverb more than anything else. Okay. It's big because if you're choosing the right reverbs, then you're getting the color and like the angle reflections and stuff that work best for your sound, right? If you're not listening to it in its full wet form and you're just applying something somewhat willy-nilly to a dry sound, all you're hearing is that sound reverberated, and you have no idea in what context or in what relation, right? So due diligence, always listen to it wet first, and then make sure that the EQ goes on at the end. And I've also seen plenty of times, and this is not something that needs to be worried about in more minimal mixes, but in busier mixes, if you're resorting to an output EQ and you say, okay, well, I cut it in the EQ section of the reverb, well, oftentimes that's going to be fairly gentle. Like the default position of Space Designer and Logic, and they think about these things, is 6 dB per octave. So even if you have a cut position of 300 hertz, you've still got like just attenuation happening down here, not a cut. You know what I mean? So putting an EQ on at the end of your signal chain is just, it's the civilized thing to do. And yeah, I would EQ every single reverb you do, unless you're working in isolation. Again, right? If you send a sound through space and it's the only thing there, then it's probably going to be okay. With the caveat being that it's not getting in its own way, right? And you see this with vocalists or bass heavy elements, where you're resorting to trickery, like you're setting up a sidechain signal, its own signal ducking its own reverb, just to get it out of the way. Sometimes EQ is just easier. Purple Prose, I like that. This kind of music, you can sway or go all crazy feet. Yeah, D&B has been doing some pretty cool stuff lately. I would agree with that. Who said that? Oh, that was Cardio. I would agree with that. Steal away. Shelves for the win. Just started using them in the right way, and it's a big help. Yeah, it really is a big help. And looking at your curves, just playing with your curves without actually sending a sound through them is a really good way to learn about how EQs actually work. Because it's a very fluid, organic environment. When you attenuate something at 2K, you're touching a lot of other frequencies in the mix, right? And how that affects things can be rather profound. You bet, Bacon. Anytime, dude. Yeah, that's kind of an ongoing joke here. Dope track. Next. Okay, so those sound good. And that was eighths, quarters. Let's go up in here a 16th really quick on this. Not feeling that. Maybe an eighth triplet. Nah. Okay, so we're going to roll with these two, and we'll go back to an eighth here for a sec, and let's just swap out wave tables at this point. So I want to move away from clean. I'm just going to grab one of mine instead of making new stuff from scratch. So pro tip, don't chase your own tail. If you're using time-based effects, especially delays and reverbs of a certain size and larger, and you think you're going to get a playable loop out of just bouncing bars like 1 through 4 and looping them, you'll be sorely disappointed every single time. Bounce like 16 bars and grab 4 bars out of the middle or something, right? Your delay is going to be in full swing. It's why when you look at the more professional libraries, you always see these tiny little ticks at the end of the loops and stuff that sound a little off. But you can get rid of those with a little, fade curve. But they're necessary for looping properly. So. Cardio, thank you so much for being here. Consider subbing and getting yourself a whole bunch of free sounds. Or kick back and wait, and someone will probably throw one at you. We'll see you next time. Is Acid House dead? No. No, Acid House is not dead. Okay, so this was back to 8th, and this was dipping into more custom waveforms, and set this out at 1/4 as well. Yeah, that sounds nice. I don't like that curve. Go figure. Let's just make this prettier, shall we? All right, let's make this a little bit more dramatic on this one. Somewhere in this realm. Okay, let's put that distortion after the delay. Okay. Oh, and all of these are C, obviously. And 120. Oops. Oh my gosh. It's already the 22nd. What? Happy birthday, Zev. Seriously, what the hell? It's already the 22nd. The month is almost over. Man. Okay, so we've got a couple of fairly basic ones. Now we need some super highly textured ones. And I think we might get there through some FM today. Purple Prose is asking, Chris, if someone wants to open up their sense of hearing sound, is there one or more types of therapy you would suggest? Yeah, I would suggest just basic ear training first, where you're focused on just the basic waveforms. Um, those being the sine wave, triangle wave, pulse wave, and sawtooth wave. Um, and listening to them in a variety of ways. If what you're wanting to hear is more nuance and detail in sounds specifically, I would really suggest playing with sounds being run through filters that you have a great degree of control over, and slowing down whatever kind of modulation is happening so you can hear disclosure over time. It's just like when you're trying to learn a quick articulation on an instrument. It's easier if you slow way down and get the order of operations correct before you speed it up and continue. And the same thing happens with our ears and our ears' ability to perceive things. If things are moving too quickly, our brain can choose to discount one thing or prioritize another thing based upon what we might consider to be arbitrary input. Um, but the more you train your brain to notice smaller details, the more it will make you aware of smaller details. Um, so it's kind of a bit of a give and take. If you want to hear greater texture, you need to listen to more texture based stuff and give yourself an opportunity to hear how those things evolve over time naturally and organically. And same thing goes for resonant sounds. Um, right? It's all about just kind of giving yourself an opportunity to hear the different modes at which these things can exist in the universe. Um, and then beyond that, if you're speaking of not being able to hear certain things within a certain range, um, then something where you're artificially inflating or adding harmonics in a sound often does the trick to help someone hear tones better. So if it's more on that side of the spectrum that you're asking about, um, yeah, very gentle saturation on things will oftentimes help bring stuff up, and then people can start to hear things again. And oddly enough, if you train someone to hear sounds that they haven't been hearing very well for some time and then you start backing off of those things that allowed them to hear it, they can sometimes maintain their ability to hear it. Their brain can start creating new pathways to kind of support all of that. Ooh, Electronic Ambient Festival in July. Who's doing that, Paul? Ooh, Nick's International Virtual Garage. Hey. The Golden Shrimp Guild. That's amazing. The Golden Shrimp Guild. It's a really incredible name. All right, let's start getting into some weird textures in here. So again, back to stuff that I've already made previously. That sounds pretty juicy. That's better. It's got some bounce to it. That's intense, actually. Let's send this one into motion. Okay, that's fun, but I think this would be even better if we had something kind of rapid. Let's see here. How are we going to do this? We could do this one of a couple of different ways. Let's FM from the sub. Since this is up 2 octaves, a total of 3 from this root. This is 16ths. Yeah, when that cutoff opens up, you can start to hear this crazy stuff. Okay, maybe not quite that much, but that's a cool feel. All right, so let's trigger and trigger and trigger. There we go. Yeah, just the ability to perceive and comprehend what you're perceiving. Like all of that stuff just takes time, right? And just slow it down, give yourself a chance. That sub is so heavy on this. Let's check that in our multiband here. Take that down just a bit. Heavy stuff right there. All right, so this is going to be well, I guess before we get there, we got to add some noise to this. Let's grab something that I know will work. flowing. This was a quarter. Okay, let's bring down that low end on this one. Let's roll up in our cutoff. Yeah, definitely some science, some psytrance in there. Yeah, that's a great spot to be in, Purple Pros. Absolutely. Okay, let's bring this back down. Get more towards a normal here. Let's get all smooth on this side again. Welcome back, Nate. Let's see. Phoenix verb. Do you need a new reverb, or are you just enticed?
60L and the PCM 96, and also the Lexicon plugins. And he created this one, and it's really one of the most amazing plugins that I've found for early reflections and total control of reverb, with a lot of pretty unique parameters. When you look at the basic interface here, you can click on the name here to get to some of the basic version information and all of that sort of stuff. You can set up your preferences here in the top left, all the typical graphic representation. Here, what I've changed to the preset, or reload the list here of your favorites. And you could call this up to open up. It's just a wet dry control. So if you're doing wet dry has even power, this is something that dry plugins and things like that, but that's kind of a cool feature. So changes or switch between them after we kind of set something up. There's a really cool also another feature in here, which is to set a diffuse. So if you have any uneven quality, then you have the so that's actually more of a natural thing in a room. So unless there's a lot of hard surfaces that are diffusive, the high frequency energy.
Subvids, I think it's the heartbeat nature of the 4 on the floor that really does it. Nate, as per my usual, I would say, do you need it? Do you need a new reverb? Your stuff is sounding great right now, dude. All right, I'm not going to turn this into a driving bass library, so I don't think I want anything that tonal, but I'm liking the textures out of this one. So let's see what happens if we start blowing up this FM a bit here. Let's do something really weird on this one. Let's do a... Oh, well, shoot, we can't. If we do a... Shoot, that won't work mathematically for us this time. I know what I can do. Maybe a different distortion in there. Zev, dude, take care, brother. I will see you in an hour. We'll make something good. Oh, speaking of, you know what? I'm gonna play. Should I play something new? Should I play something new? I need to quit working on this anyway right now. So why don't I just do this? Why don't I hit save? This will help me get out the door. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and push my luck and get done with the chat or with the stream with no time to do anything before I jump into the next. So this little ditty is the latest one. You got a nice $3 15 gig kontakt taster last week. What? What? 15 gigs for $3, huh? Yeah, Zev and I, we've knocked out a few now. This is our 4th track. This one is all ambient though. That's a cool idea. Oh, cool. Cool. Okay, more guitar stuff coming too. All right, so here you go. This is an ambient thing, so it's different. Hmm. This is what you feel like most of the time. Just call this one Heidi. Yeah, so anyway, for those of you keeping track at home, that's the latest one. Handful of you have probably heard all of them at this point. All right, kitty cats, I should boogie. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, right. The other ones are not ambient. The other ones are pretty different. Maybe next stream we'll listen through all of them together. I really need to do some brainstorming on a name for this project. I'm sure Will is probably feeling the same. Ah, he's still here. Cute little monkey face. All right. I wonder if anyone good is streaming right now. Here, let me just pull up my browser really quick. Yeah, dude, I would love to crack a beer with you today and chill out a bit. Yay. Thank you, Heidi. Always good to have you here. Let's see. I'm going to check out this taste pack. Who was that? Was that Subvids that sent that through? Who was that? Yeah, that was Subvids. Thanks for the heads up on that. Happy trees, angry squirrels. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that. All right, so back to my browser. All right, Twitch. What you got going on today? Bauer's playing. Send you guys over to Bauer. Oh, Sam's playing. All right, let's go visit Sam. Let's go visit Sam. You guys love Sam, right? There he is. All right. I'm going to drop you in there in about 10 seconds. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you on the flip. See you Wednesday. Cheers.
Team people, what's up? Yeah.
It's been a wild journey so far, but now we're here, and it feels so good.
For the wonderful, wonderful raid. Man, always coming through with the support. Thank you so much. Welcome, Raiders.
What is the best
Siege. Oh man, Nate the Sound Ninja. Thank you so much for the follow. What's up? So Ben, what a raid is
I don't know these things.
when someone else finishes their stream, they bring their viewers.
They
and
raided
they
it
raid
over.
another stream, and here we are with Chris.
That's so good.
Rob has given OhmLab a shout out. Everybody go and give Chris a follow if you're not already. Wonderful man, wonderful streamer for all your audio needs,
Questions.
testing out plugins, giving recommendations, making sounds.